Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. But yesterday I get a text from my buddy Clark Aposian. He says, hey, you never guess what we did? He told me what he did. I went, oh, gosh, we got to talk about that. Because this is activism. It is kind of an anarchist view approach to it. I just love what is going on. Joining me right now, Clark Aposian. He is firearms instructor, a trainer, and a lobbyist. And Clark, I just got to tell you, I kind of like the way you guys are thinking over there.
Well, Tom, Tom Gresham, I mean, you're smack dab in the middle of what, 3 generations of people that are educating, of your family that's been educating and changing minds on guns and Second Amendment and everything. So I am just happy to be talking with you about this. So,
okay, so let me set this up, because I have for years been saying, kind of with a chuckle, but also seriously, of when they have these bogus gun buyback programs, we always say, of course, you can't buy back something you never had in the first place, and it's just a PR move. And whoever it is usually works for the police department, and they offer to buy back guns, basically buying up guns. And I kept saying, a lot of times they take those things and destroy them, good guns. What if we could actually give those to deserving people who could then use them for self-defense? Well, I've been talking about it, but you just pulled it off, my friend.
That's what we did. So we have we already had a class. So Utah Shooting Sports Council, which I chair in cooperation with the Utah 2A Alliance, which we're a member of, has a class on July 9th to teach a free concealed carry class to all Utah school employees that want it. And because you can carry in schools here without, you don't have to ask permission or anything other than having a permit. And so we said, how can we add on to this? Well, we found out that the mayor is doing this gun buyback, which agreed. Yeah, they didn't buy them in the first place. And we said, how can we make this work? So we set up a booth. We had a pop-up tent, set up a booth right on Police Plaza before that the people would see before they came and got to the awnings where the police were buying the guns. And we were offering cash, $25 more per firearm than they would get in a gas card.
So they were going to get what? They were going to get $50 from the city for a gun.
Yep, they're going to get $50 gas card and $100 if they had an assault weapon. So anyway, we just said, you know what? We'll give you more. We'll give it to you in cash, and you get to hear about what we're going to do with them. So what we did is, so we're going to have we took in over 20 guns, and we are now going to take those firearms in to be those that are, commonly used for self-defense, some handguns or something like that.
And
we're going to have them refurbished, checked out, and then we're going to be giving them away to school teachers at our class on July 9th after they've been on. And then that comes with not just the concealed carry training, but actual range time training as well. And so, it's the mayor and the police chief, that's the murder capital of Utah, Salt Lake City. And I mean, the reason in connection with our DA, who just lets people go, they'll get them arrested. One guy not too far back, a few months ago, held up a daughter and father at gunpoint, and then took off, found him and arrested. DA wouldn't even charge him, let him go, and then he comes back a few months later and kills a University of Utah football player at a party with a stolen gun. So,
all right. So did you get any pushback on your pop-up tent and basically outbidding the city?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, the very moment we were setting up the pop-up tent, Lieutenant came over to us and said, "Hey, you can't be here. This is police property." And I'm not going to argue. I just said, "But public property." And he says, "No, this is police property." And I said, well, we're setting it up next to these benches that people can sit on anyway. And long story short, we had the pop-up tent there. So for the duration.
The benches are not police property. I mean, this is just a go away, I'm going to flash my badge and try to intimidate you deal.
Yeah. So we've been there and done that. And so in connection with the Utah 2A Alliance and Utah Shooting Sports Council, it worked out great. I mean, they had people standing in line, though, and they touted it as a no questions asked. They literally said in their press release, legal or illegal guns, and you get $50 or $100 for that. But then we started questioning, what about if it's a stolen gun? What if it's a gun used in a crime? What if it's a gun used in a murder? They're going to destroy that potential evidence.
Right.
And then And then they had the guts to say, oh, this will reduce crime. Now, and I was quoted in the local papers as saying, how are they going to measure how it reduces crime? Are they going to use a dipstick or what? Because there's no way. We've never seen this.
No, well, dipstick describes some of them, but maybe not the tool they're using to measure it. So, all right, so how did you handle that? Because obviously you don't want to be buying up stolen guns or guns used in crimes. And I know that sometimes when they do these buybacks, they don't even get the information from the people who brought the guns in.
Well, that's interesting. They touted it as no questions asked, but all the they must have had 6, 7 cops there receiving these firearms, even though they didn't get that many. And they had their body cams on. They had, there's cameras all over, Police Plaza. And I took a picture of 2 cops sitting there with a spotting scope up on the roof. I have a picture of it. So, I don't know. And if we take in, well, obviously we're going to be going through an FFL to have the guns checked out, and they're going to run them through the stolen gun database and find out.
Okay.
And if they are,
that's what I was wondering about that.
Then we will, as appropriate, because we don't want to be giving these guns to school employees that have a history behind them. So
right.
And then the other guns that we took in, the rifles and the shotguns, we're going to be converting them into cash to go into to go back into the coffers for these kind of classes later.
How do you guys finance this? Where do you get the money to do this?
So we take donations. Yeah, we primarily just do donations, Utah Shooting Sports Council and Utah 2A Alliance. So we're a 501c4. We are a 501c4.
Anybody could do this pretty much anywhere in the country. I mean, there may be some states where they run into some problems, but basically set up your own little competing kiosk and offer more, buy the guns, turn them around, refurb them, check them out, make sure they're safe. You could give them to teachers who are getting training. You could work with a center that works with abused women who are trying to escape people who are stalking them, and offer them training as well. I mean, there's no end to the good that you could do with this and get these self-defense tools into the hands of people who need self-defense.
I agree with you. Yeah, and that is one of our outreach programs is working on DV as well, so domestic violence. So, but I mean, and they're being touted as these guns having some anthropomorphic quality to them that they just go out and commit crimes. These moms and dads and retired couples are showing up with a lot of long guns, but as well. And in thinking, they've been led to believe that this is the only way they could divorce themselves of these firearms, and these are not guns that are going to be used in crime. For goodness sake. These are just, sometimes heirlooms.
Yeah. Right, they've been inherited and all.
Yeah.
Hey, Clark, we've got a phone issue. I'm going to have to cut it short. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much for this. I love the anarchist aspect of it and doing good and basically also co-opting the bogus gun buyback idea. Love it.
Thank you for all you do, Tom.
Oh, man, you bet.